Moving on to our 10:15 a.m. item, consideration of an update on approved projects and proposed modifications to American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, state and local fiscal recovery funds, SLFRF funding allocations. Mr. Carter, to pass it on to Ms. Moreno.
Yeah, Stephen Carter, Assistant County Administrative Officer. I'll turn it right over to Casey, our Deputy County Administrative Officer.
Good morning, Board. So, I'm Casey Moreno, Deputy County Administrative Officer for Finance and Budget. Today, I have in front of you the ARPA fund status. ARPA stands for American Rescue Plan Act, or State Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, or SLRF. So a little background. So in May of 2021, various local governments across the United States were awarded funds. This did include state, local, territorial, tribal governments. County of Lake was awarded $12,506,226. So $10 million of that was the standard allowance, which could be used to replace lost revenue due to the COVID-19 pandemic or any other governmental expense. The remaining $2.5 million was the non-standard allowance, which needed to meet guidelines specified in the Treasury's final rule. The board directed staff to redirect the former CARES ad hoc committee to facilitate recommendations to allocate the funds in a way that would best fit the community. All funds are to be spent by December 31st, 2024. Allocations which are under contract by December 31st, 2024 must be expended by December 31st, 2026. So just to give you an idea of the standard and non-standard allowance allocations, so just over $9.8 million is allocated for standard uses, with the remaining 2.6 for non-standard. The reason that we have more in the non-standard is just in case something is claimed and then is decided later that it doesn't qualify for non-standard, we don't have to pay it back because we have a little extra in that bucket. So for the completed projects, we have multiple that have already been completed and were completed early on. That includes ambulance support, First 5, Helping Grow software, mobile library vehicle, Granicus clerk docs for the auditor's office, and content management system update and content updates. So we have multiple projects that are in progress. So that includes broadband, NCO build, the CDD plan updates, armory, and modernization of cybersecurity. These items with the arrows are planned to be completed by the end of 2024. Some of them are just paying for, like the public defender startup is paying for costs associated with getting that office up and running. And so there's no real contract for that. So that will end on December 31st of this year. Any remaining funds would need to be reallocated. So there's 3 new projects that are to be started, and so that includes the Special District Studies, Middletown Multi-Use, and Middletown Park. Those will be presented in the final recommended budget hearing coming up next for your approval. The other projects, we have been assured by the departments that those will be completed by the end of this year or under contract. So this is just a pie chart of the allocation to show you what has been completed, what's still in progress, both paid and remaining to be paid, and what will be started by the end of this fiscal year. And that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions, comments regarding the ARPA allocations?
So we got confirmation on the first 5 projects?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, the pie chart that you last showed, everything that's in progress, we have till December 2026 to accomplish those things. It's about getting that last sliver in contract in order to make sure that we're not giving anything back. And obviously, we want to accomplish all the other things that are in there.
Absolutely.
I know that we met as an ARPA committee. We discussed this in great detail. There was one that I just want to make sure that we cover that was in there, but it was kind of not necessarily alluded to in the finances. We gave $800,000 to NCO Build, and what I saw on the chart today was that now it's at $1 million with $200,000 left over. Just wanted to mention that to make sure that the rest of the board was aware of that change as well that was made. And it's good to see the pie chart being so complete as far as what progress is being made, because 3 or 6 months ago, that's not where we were. So I appreciate the progress that we have made over that time. Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Green?
I just want to thank you, Chair Sabatier and Supervisor Pyska, for shepherding these funds through the ARPA process. There's a lot to do here. Most of this definitely predates my time on the board, but you've been able to do quite a bit, and I appreciate your leadership on that and the board's support of your direction.
And I will pass those kudos on to staff. Thank you very much for setting those meetings up for us and bringing us all these projects that departments are submitting. It's on their request, not our creation. But thank you. All right, let's go ahead and open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item? No hands in Zoom? No movement in the chamber? Bringing it back to the board, and this was just a presentation. This will be fully approved within the final budget that will be occurring in very near future, after 7 more minutes. So thank you very much, and we will go ahead and let's go ahead and take up.
Just 2 seconds.
Apologize.
There is one thing I wanted to say about it with the NCO building homes. I don't believe we had the final number that would allow them to do their final cohort. We have 200 in there right now, which the committee approved. But we also, in the middle of that committee, approved whatever they kind of needed to make that cohort work. So once we get that data, we would bring either something back or be able to do it within standard budget transfers to make that change. I just wanted the board to be aware if it turns out to be 265, we would increase that allocation for NCO from 1 million to 1,065,000 if that's what it ends up being, and lower something else like public defender or one of the other ones that we as admin have control of. Just wanted you to be aware of that.
Also, I wanted to, I'm glad you kept talking, reminded me of our conversation yesterday. There may be some last minute changes that are required to be made to ensure that we don't give any money back. Kind of like that same level of flexibility with then bringing it back to the board to let us know what needed to be changed at the last 11th hour. Because the last thing we want to do is return any funds. There's always going to be potential obstacles that we can't foresee between now and December 31st. And I just want to make sure that we are able to allocate and get into contracts for all of those funds. And not sure if we can give direction to that, not sure how that would get accomplished, but I just want to make sure to give you the flexibility to ensure that we do not see any money going back where it came from.
Yes, I would like direction if you don't mind.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And we will come back at mid-year and let you know if we made any changes.
And I think that at this point in time, you have capital asset list that we're going to approve within our final budget. And I think there's a lot to pick through within that capital project list to be able to utilize the rest of the ARPA funds. And I think that at least that limits the scope to a certain degree for something that has been approved by the Board of Supervisors that we anticipate to see being done and accomplished. And so that would be the direction that I would give, is within the list of what's in ARPA and within the list of capital assets, to give flexibility as to where to place the money.
I agree.
Okay?
Thank you. And we'll keep it within the same department as much as possible as well.
That would be good. Thank you.